Now that we have got the stock axle out of the way, we can shift over to this side and take a look at what Bruno was talking about earlier. This is awesome, man. It's the ultimate Dana 44. Now take a look at this. At first glance, you say, well, sure is pretty, right?
Right.
But it gets even better. It's bigger, it's beefier. You got thicker kind of axle tubes right there, so that's good. All the bracketry is 1/4 inch. It's just strong, man. That's where we need to go with this.
You know, they updated just about every possible way in terms of that, you know, the thicker wall and these axle housings, you know, to all the bracketry here with the racetrack bar mount, but they kept everything within the dimensions of a direct bolt-in replacement for factory, so you don't have to do any kind of modifications to your vehicle to get this into place. Now, I mentioned the racetrack bar mount. That's for our lifted vehicle here, but if you've got a factory height, you've got the lower mount there. They kind of thought of everything, including these little flanges right there.
Yeah, you know what? If you look at the stock axle right there where the lower control arm bolts in, it's open. It's almost like it's a scoop if you're going through weeds or whatever. You know, it's all going to get hung up. Now here, you've got kind of like a little skid plate action going on right there, right? Cast iron diff cover. I mean, the list goes on and on and on when I start looking around, man.
Well,
I love it.
when you start talking about the gears, you know, this is that 488 that we wanted to use to match the back on this thing, but they've got 6 different options you can go with in terms of gear ratios, from 373 up to 538, and they have electric locking diff, which just makes this that much cooler. The whole idea is the end result, he can go and take this thing and do what he wants to with it. We don't have to worry about any kind of failures up front.
All Spicer gears, Spicer U joints, chromoly axles, man. We could talk about this for a while, but I think we do need to get this on the stands and roll it back under there. What do you think?
You feeling strong?
Yeah, actually, I am. Here, you get this one, I'll get this one. Rotate it a little bit.
Maybe.
You know what I like about it is, man,
There
it
we
all
go.
goes
Got it.
back all into the stock location, right? So here, give me a little spin.
Little spin.
Yeah, a little rotation, if you will. Look at that. Boom.
Look at that. Keep going, Holmes. Keep going. Keep going. You're in there?
I mean, I'm lined up with it. So just like that, boom, the new axle is in place, it's hanging on, and it's looking good. Now really all we have to do at this point is continue to put everything back together. That brings us to this knuckle right here. You know what's cool about this? We reuse the knuckle, but it comes with all new hardware, new ball joints, all that stuff, so it's good.
With the steering knuckles on, we can go ahead and put in our axles. And what we're going with here is the Spicer chromoly axle shafts with the premium Spicer SPL 1350 series U-joints. Now, we love working with the guys at Dana Spicer because they think of everything. Look at the U-joints, for instance. First of all, you've got the full circle snap rings, where in most of the ones you'll see the 3/4. These are going to help stay together and keep everything together. Now also, you got the triple lip seal right here, which is going to keep all the lubrication inside, the grease and the dirt, water, and debris on the outside, so you're going to get more life out of that U-joint. Little things here, the shaft guide on the end. You'll see when I go to put the axle in, what it's going to do is help guide this over the seal that sits right here at the differential. So otherwise, especially with the long side, you're on one side cantilevering and you're banging the end of the axle shaft into that seal and you can damage it. The shaft guide, it'll slide right past. Also, you've got the snake guard on the end right here, keeps dirt and debris out from damaging the internals of that whole assembly right there. So now it's a matter of sliding them in, we can keep moving on with our project. Check that out. It's a good time for us to take a break. As we come back, we got to button this all up. We're going to address some brakes on this Jeep, as well as a couple other issues.
Welcome back. So during the break, we went ahead and put the hubs back on. Now, I mentioned earlier that when you buy this axle, you get all new hardware, and that includes these hub bolts right here. And those new hub bolts are always good to have. So keep in mind, we're just kind of getting everything back into place. We're not tightening it all down just yet. Once we have everything where we want it, we'll put the vehicle back down on the ground, we'll let the suspension load, and then we can tighten everything back up. Now, we told you at the beginning of the show that this Jeep was off-road only, and guess what? Here we are. But we can't go testing the ultimate Dana 44 axle on the road. We've got to hit some rocks or something, right? Now, I will say this, for as large as this axle was, it was easy to install. All the bolts lined up, and if you have any additional questions about the install, Dana has a step-by-step video on the Spicer website, so it's all good.